Today, we're going to be talking about how to amplify your virtual voice, as we are kind of either fully in remote work, or if we are in our hybrid work environments, whatever your work environment may be, we want to make sure that we are using our Microsoft tools to their fullest potential here. So today we're going to be going over Teams and Outlook and how to use these tools to really amplify your virtual voice, really kind of tailor your messaging, get in touch with those members of your team who you need more direct contact with, while keeping everybody in the loop, really. So I think that's where a lot of the disconnect that we're seeing happening is that it's really, really easy to become isolated in these environments as we kind of just get in touch with maybe one person at a time, and we aren't really using the full potential of especially Teams, where you can really kind of group everyone into a specific kind of sector to really tailor the conversation to those specific needs. It is a light training today, but the messaging is pretty deep here, right? We're talking about being real with our teammates when we're talking to them. We keep talking about this new normal. When are things going back to normal? This is normal. This is what we're doing now. Let's talk about how we can really kind of replicate this virtual office environment to maybe what we were doing before. We were bumping into people and we kind of got a feeling for who's on the other end. It's kind of feeling a little robotic lately. And we just want to break that up. We want to be able to, we're really wanting to replicate that feeling, get some human feeling behind the screens here again. So let's talk about how we can do that. First, we just want to discuss a little disturbing stat here, right? So 8 out of 10 employees report experiencing high levels of stress due to ineffective internal communication. So maybe we've established how we are communicating to our partners or clients or externally communicating, but that internal communication just isn't as fluid yet. Maybe we're just kind of losing touch or kind of going into an echo chamber where nothing is really getting resolved. We're not getting answers. We want to both solve that problem of productivity in our environments, but also that connection with our team. So we're going to maximize our tools for effective communication using Outlook and Teams today. We're going to be going over Teams first. You know I love a Teams training. We really love Teams here at F8, and we love to see how our partners are using these platforms. Outlook too. I think Outlook used for email, pretty much general use, but Teams is really a great platform for all of us to be collaborating virtually, especially for those internal needs. There is the capability to use it for external sharing and bringing on maybe consultants or freelance people into your environment to just help out or give an extra voice, so you can do that securely in Teams. So really exciting stuff happening in there. But we're going to talk really about personalizing your voice here and getting some effective communication going on. So let's talk about your virtual voice in Teams first. Just to give a quick rundown of Teams, there are 2 tabs that we're really going to be talking about today, and that is the Chat tab and the Teams tab. If any of you have joined our previous trainings on the Core 4, then you'll know these 2 tabs well and their function. But I just want to quickly differentiate them for any newcomers or those who have not seen that training. This is the Chat tab, and this is where you have either private conversations or small group chats. You can do video calls in here, file sharing, screen sharing. You know the jam, the Core 4 there, my favorite things in Teams. So this is where you're going to do that kind of one-on-one meeting. Side conversations are all taking place here. But then we do have your Teams, and that is in the Teams tab right here underneath Chat on that left side menu. We see that I have a demo team up here just to do this demonstration. Of course, we have, of course, our general channel, which every team comes loaded up with, and our channel that we've created, Mystery Machine here. Love Scooby-Doo. So here we are in our Mystery Machine channel, and this is where posts are happening, and this is where we're going to be talking about communicating with our team inside Teams is in posts. So chat is kind of those side conversations. Teams, and under Posts, the Posts tab, this is where we're going to be talking about those features for staying in touch with your team, kind of directing the conversation while also keeping everybody in the loop once again. So let's just continue. Again, here we are in Posts. So hear more voices. So this is adding someone to a group chat. Here we are in our Teams tab right here. And this is a conversation that I'm having with the lovely Kanika. If any of you have gotten a chance to speak with her on our procurement team, absolutely lovely. So here we are. Okay, sorry, I thought somebody else was trying to come in. So this is our chat with Kanika, and maybe I want to bring someone in. So I'm just going to go to this tab up here, right up here, excuse me. And then we're going to add a group member. So here I can just tap in their name. Everybody that is in your organization that has the matching domain is in there, or any guests that you invite onto your team will also appear there, and you can add them. I'm sorry, this is a chat. Sorry, that's Teams coming later, but anybody that you have on your team, right in there. So you can also tailor how they see the conversation once they come in. If you only need to share the conversation within the past few days, maybe it's a new project, you don't need them knowing all the details that came before, or all your past conversations if you're bringing someone into a chat. Or you can include all the chat history, so you can really tailor it to maybe a month ago, 2 days ago, but it does come in days. There's no other time that you can, minutes ago. No, it's just by number of days. So that's adding someone to a group chat. That's just a zoomed in look here of what that menu is, adding in their name, and then whether or not you want to include that chat history. And next we'll talk about some fun feedback, and this is how to use Microsoft Forms in a Teams post to survey your team. So this is in the Teams tab underneath chat. So we are open in Teams. Again, we are in that demo channel here, the demo team rather, in the Mystery Machine channel. And to use the Forms function, we are going to go to New Conversation here at the bottom, and we'll see our menu pop up here. If you don't see the Forms option on this menu, you can just click on these 3 dots, and you can either search for it, it might be in your suggestions, and then click it from there to then start a form. It's powered by Microsoft Forms in here, and you can then take a poll, which is really, really fun. You can either share the results after voting so everybody knows that you vote, or you can keep the responses anonymous if you're just trying to get a tally on something. You can allow multiple answers to be answered, and this is where you type your options. So a really great way to just kind of get some feedback from your team, survey your team quickly. Here we asked if they prefer pizza or ice cream. Very, very hard choice. And here we can see who's answering, how to submit the vote. You can ask a question here. You can reply directly to the form. When do we have to get back to you by? If you need some time to think, you can talk right here in response to the survey. So a really fun way to get feedback from your team. And again, that is in a Teams tab from a specific channel. And next, we're going to give your voice some context. This is a great function for kind of announcements and having a departmental intranet, which is a really, really fun kind of buzzword going around which is basically your internal internet, how your internal communications form a network really between users. And this is where you can make announcements to those users, again, tailoring your voice, but keeping everybody in the loop. So we're going to go to New Conversation. And again, this is in the Teams tab from a channel under Posts, just kind of going through that flow. We're going to start a new conversation here if there's not any conversation going. And we're going to click on this button here. And this is where you really get those feature-rich option for sending messages here. including kind of tailoring your font, bold, italic, all of that good stuff. But this is where we really want to look, adding a subject to your message, right? So this can be for just, a heads up to your team. So it's easily searchable, or it stands out in a thread. But you can also make an announcement. So instead of a new conversation, you can go ahead and click on announcement, and that really beefs up your message there. You can see, you can type a headline, include a picture, change the color. Really great for all staff announcements or team department announcements. Really, really fun way to communicate with your team. You can post it in multiple channels from one channel, which is really nice. And then you can even change it. It can just be for department heads, so that just maybe admin can reply to the announcement. This is really great if maybe an executive or a higher up needs to get a survey of all departments and you need the response from the department heads. You're giving everyone a heads up this way, right? Everybody knows that their department head or their supervisor is going to get in touch with them soon. They're going to have to give them some kind of response. And then once it's all gathered, just those who need to respond will get back to you. So this is a great way of keeping things in the public eye, but just having a more tailored response, giving your voice some context there. And also creating tags within teams is a really fun way of making your messaging stand out, or really tailoring, again, that conversation, calling out a group of people within a team. This is especially helpful for, say, a marketing team that might have some sales people in there, or vice versa, a sales team that might have some marketing people in there. You can create a subgroup inside a team. So suppose we have a marketing team and we have a thread going here, a channel, and we have some sales people in there. What we will want to do is click on these three dots, and then we are going to go to manage tags. And you see in this team, we do not have any tags yet. So we'll go to create a tag right here, and then we'll start building it out. So tag name, and maybe in this scenario would be sales, the description. These are all sales members included in this marketing team. And then you can start adding people into this group. So suppose you need some feedback from sales within marketing, at sales. You can just at sales, and then all the people within that tag then get notified. You can think of this almost like a distribution group within a team. Let's see. Okay. And that way you can really kind of tailor that conversation. Again, maybe you're great for sales. Maybe they closed a deal. You want to congratulate them. Nice job, sales. And that way everyone can just congratulate them at the same time. So it's a great way to both call people out for their attention. Maybe you need something back from them, or to congratulate them. You can use it any way that you'd like. So great way to do that, to kind of create little subgroups within your team. We do still need to separate a little bit, especially with those larger organizations. As we kind of build out your teams, we can still group people within those teams, even though they seem pretty large. And then here, one more little tip inside of Teams here is to make your voice more inclusive. You can let your team know that they can turn on closed captions in a Teams meeting to make sure everyone is included in the conversation. And closed captioning is great for making an inclusive work environment, but this is also a matter of preference. Just like Netflix, some people like watching Netflix with the subtitles turned on. Some people might like to read their meetings as it's happening. Great for our construction partners if you're in a loud environment, or anybody who's moving to a new space and your environment might be a little loud at times, but you still want to be in the office. A great way to make sure that you're not missing anything is by turning on these closed captions. And of course, if you do need them, in a lot of cases, you have to wait for the meeting to be transcribed and then sent to you. And this is just kind of not a great way of actively participating in the meeting. Sometimes you have to wait. This is really close to being almost pretty close to live. Of course, you have to take your lumps. It's not great with names. As the conversation goes on, the names do kind of pick up. The AI behind the scenes there, it does pick up on the names, but little rough in the meeting when the meeting gets started with the names. So to turn on closed captions, we're going to click on these three dots and then just simply turn on the live captioning right here. And this is what it will look like. You'll see that I was speaking. Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing this morning? And it is pretty on time. Even I tested it out in a meeting myself. Nobody knew that I was using the closed captioning, just to see how accurate or how quickly it was transcribing. And it was, even when we were kind of talking more quickly or talking over each other, it picked pretty much everything up. So a great way to keep your environment inclusive, and also just a little tip if you are working in a noisy environment. And next we are going to move into Outlook. A few quick tips in here. First, using mention in an email. You can notify your team now by using the mention function in Outlook. In another webinar, I believe in April, we talked about using the app function inside of Teams, which was a really great way. And now we've just introduced using tags where you can add an entire group. And now you can use mention in email. This is really, really great for those of us. I know that I've done this where we are talking about someone in an email who probably needs to be notified, but we put them in the email, but we don't send it to them, or we don't CC them on. We can avoid that by just using the app function in email now. So if you look here, I have Tristan in here. I have quotes in here. Maybe we need a quote for something, and neither of them are in the email. However, if you just use the app function, it puts them right in to send. And this is great. Also works for distribution groups, which is super helpful. I know within F8, we love to notify our entire teams. So this is a great way to make sure that nobody is left out on a thread using that app function. And here we are once again, as we are adding them, they are getting added in. Also passing the mic and delegating access to your mail and calendar. I just want to mention that here we want to make sure that we are just handing it over to one person at a time. Of course, the fewer people who have access to your mail and calendar, the better, especially for security purposes. So this is really for your running mate, someone who is really alongside next to you. Maybe this is for a temporary position, perhaps during a project. You might want to delegate access just for answering emails, changing your calendar, all of that. This is the time that you would want to do that. So you'll go to File from Outlook, and then from Info, you'll want to go to Account Settings. And then from here, you'll delegate access, or essentially giving others the permission to receive items and respond on your behalf. This also includes access to your calendar, making any kind of scheduling changes. That all happens right here as you pass the mic on to that person. If you have any questions about doing that as far as permissions or turning it on or off, you can of course ask us. Whether or not we manage your email, that's another conversation. So definitely reach out if you have any questions about permissions and delegating access. Another thing that you can do in Outlook is turn those emails into almost a conversation, so you can see the thread all at once. And to do this, you'll first go to View from the top of the ribbon here in Outlook. And this is the latest version of Outlook. If it looks a little different, it's just been updated. So maybe yours already looks like this. Congratulations. If not, this is the newest version. So we'll go to View, and then from View, we will go to Current View. And then under Current View, of course, you'll select Show as Conversations. And once you click on this, it will prompt you to either select if you want to show the emails as conversations just in this folder or from all mailboxes. I, for this example, just selected in this folder. But if you choose all mailboxes, it will even pull in emails that you've moved to other mailboxes that are still a part of that thread. So even if you save it to a different mailbox or move it around, it would still show up in that thread in your inbox. So just a little tip there. And then once we have that, we see Here is an example that we have with Kathy sending out wellness checks. And a little triangle will appear next to those emails. And then just to see the entire thread, we'll click on that triangle and it will give you a drop down and you'll see the other emails that were also in that same thread. Very, very helpful, especially for long kind of project coordination. You can just see the dates as the project kind of works its way through. Really helpful for cases like those where there are a lot of emails going back and forth and something may get lost, or you don't want to scroll through the entire email. You can just kind of guesstimate to give a good guesstimate based on the date that it was sent. So that is just seeing the whole conversation here. And the last Outlook tip that we will give you, I know that we're holding you a little over today, before we let you go, is a tip that takes place in the web app, so the Outlook web application. And this is the scheduling assistant in Outlook in the browser. This allows you to speed up the scheduling process by viewing your team's availability. It's really non-invasive this way. You don't have to share out your calendar. It's just showing whether or not you are busy or available. It doesn't show if you're in a meeting, who you're in a meeting with, anything like that, just your availability. So for example, I'm going to hold a project meeting and I want to invite some members of my team. I invite Teresa, Tristan, and Raj, and I don't know when they're available, so I'll just propose 4:30. So I put 4:30 in and I see that it tells me one person is not available. We see it's Teresa, but underneath here, we do see some suggested time that everyone is available, which is really, really helpful. If you have scheduled a meeting in Teams, you'll notice that this is also a function that happens in Teams. However, this is a little more feature rich. It does give those suggested times. In Teams, it will let you know if the teammate that you are inviting is busy or available. However, it will not give you any suggested time. So this is a little more feature rich, surprising from a web application, of course, but very exciting. I know internally we will definitely be using this one a little more as we get into kind of wrapping up the year and wanting, and everybody taking some time off, of course, before the new year around the holidays. I know we all get a little, we're all in and out of the office. And that is where I will leave you today. Maximize your tools and amplify your virtual voices in Teams and Outlook. Again, we are in the new normal. We want to feel normal. We want to communicate with our team. We want to be a little more casual, and this is definitely the place to do it. More so Teams than Outlook, of course. There are so many other features in Teams. If you've checked out any of our other trainings on the Core 4 or virtual inclusivity, which we did in April. If you'd like links to that, you can check out our YouTube channel or get in touch with me. I'd be more than happy to share those links with you. And amplifying your virtual voice. Please let me know if you use any of the tips that we went over today, or if you are already using some of these tips in maybe a different way. I'm always excited to hear how our partners are using their Microsoft environments and kind of their workflows and workarounds and just how your teams are communicating. I'm always interested to hear, so please do reach out. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Enjoy the afternoon. It's I think the last warm day before it gets too chilly, and I am definitely going to enjoy it this afternoon. I hope you all do as well. And until next time, thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye, everyone.